In this episode of Divine Hustle, we have Augustus Lymon, owner of the clothing brand Rare Cloth, kicking off our series, Behind the Brand. Let's get into the show. Yo, what's up, Divine Hustle? We are here and we have a special guest today, my dude, Augustus Lymon, formerly known as the artist Dilly Boy. He is the CEO, founder of a brand new merchandise, like brand new brand called Cut from Rare Cloth, man. It's so good to have you in the studio with us today. What's up, man?
Man, it's
how
good
you feeling?
To be here, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Bro, it is such an honor to have you. I mean, I've heard about you from our friend Kelly. She runs a lot of the downtown stuff in Las Vegas, but you got a brand here in Vegas called Cut from Rare Cloth, and we're really excited because we want to talk about the brand, but also the journey that got to the brand, because this is the brand new series that we're starting called Behind the Brand on Divine Hustle. So this is the series that we talk to CEOs, we talk to business owners, we talk to brands, and the things that we see on social media and all that stuff is kind of like the trophies of the brand, but we never actually get to peel back the curtain and look behind the brand. So this is that opportunity to kind of share the journey that you were on to get to what you're doing now, and what does the future look like for your brand. So thank you so much for coming, bro, and spending the time with us.
Thanks for having me, man. And again, shouts out to Kelly Bennett for linking us together.
That's what's up. Shout out to Kelly. So I just want to dive into this because I don't know, some of our listeners, maybe they have brands that they're trying to start. Maybe they got a dream. Maybe they got an idea. Maybe they got something that they really want to pursue, but maybe they're like hitting barriers, maybe some walls. Maybe they tried it in the past and it didn't work out. And a lot of them, they just kind of need encouragement. And I hope that in this podcast, we could kind of share something with them that's going to inspire them to continue to pursuing greatness in their business, in their faith, in their relationships, in their creativity. So that is why you are here. You are, man, I see you as a charismatic, just passionate, like just spirit-filled kind of dude that is doing things. You and your wife have this brand and this company, and we could talk about what the brand is and what it represents. And I would love to dive into hearing your backstory and how you came up with all this and where you guys are at right now. So what is Cut from Rare Cloth? What does that mean to you?
Okay, so the brand is called Rare Cloth, and the slogan is Cut from Rare Cloth. And for me, it just means to be peculiar, unspotted from the world, unwanted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's subjective. But on a broader sense, we all one of one. Yeah. We are all cut from rare cloth. They'll never make another John.
That's right.
They'll never make another one of you.
That's right.
They might have people with that name John,
right?
But God only created one of you.
That's so true.
So what are you gonna do on your journey and your purpose to set yourself apart?
Right.
What are you gonna do to be rare?
Yeah.
And for me, just being rare is to be different. You know, I come from a rough background in Flint, Michigan. I was born in 1984. My mother's name is Bethel Lymon. I was raised in the 80s, the crack era. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So, my mom dealt with drug addiction, and I ended up being raised by my uncle, which is, he might get offended. And that's how close, you know what I'm saying? He's like my father. So my mother's brother raised me. My other siblings went to foster care. Well, we all went to foster care in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? Wow. And we ended up, my other siblings, my brother and sister, they ended up going with their side of the family. And I ended up going with my uncle.
Okay.
And my mom ended up getting clean, and she ended up getting them back, but I ended up staying with my uncle. And he raised me. So my cousins became my brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Were you able to choose who you were going to go with at the time? Or like did you choose to go with your uncle?
No, I was young. Okay. But I already had a attachment because my uncle would come get me, and I would be around my cousins, and they and they were older than me, so I kind of attached to them, and I feel like God made everything happen for a reason. And like I said, my mom been clean over 20 some years now, and
shout out to mom.
We got a good relationship, and
that's so good.
But it was kind of rocky because I kind of because my mom had two boys before she had my brother Samuel.
Okay.
So she had them two kids, and they went with their grandparents and father.
Okay.
Then she had my brother Sam, And then she had me, which we supposed to have the same father, but that's a whole nother issue. That's a whole nother thing. But you know what I'm saying? I don't get too deep in it. And but yeah, I got a brother that's older than me. Then I got a sister that's younger than me.
Okay.
So it was us at that time, at that point in time.
Gotcha.
And that's when, you know, my sister was born with my mom had an open case with the state. And when my sister was born with crack cocaine in her system, that's when we got took.
Oh wow.
So
wow.
So yeah, so my mom, my two siblings that was with me, they ended up going with our supposed to be father. Yeah. Well, their father, but I don't believe it's my father.
Right.
But it, you know.
Well, at least you know your true father.
Yeah, right? I know who my true father is. You know, I reached out to the guy that's supposed to be my father, but but you know, looks can be deceiving because I kind of felt like, you know, they're darker than me and I look a certain kind of way.
Until like I said, blood tests come.
Yeah, I hit him up and I was like, I was trying to call him and ask him. You know, like, do we really think he's my father? But I didn't get an answer. But I just felt like that was God showing me, like, let that stay in the past.
How did that affect you growing up? Like, knowing, like, okay, like, you got sister and brother, and, like, you don't really know your dad, right? And you didn't really have...
Because he went to prison.
Right.
He went to prison.
And your mom was dealing with that stuff. Like, what was it like growing up, like, you know, knowing these things? And, like, what was your childhood like?
It was like I would go visit my mom, but I lived with my dad, which, you know, my uncle.
Yeah, your uncle.
And it was just different because my brother, as we got older, he would kind of set odds against me a little bit. You know how kids are. Well, you go over there, you got it better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because my uncle would take us, you know, to like amusement parks, and you know, I had a good upbringing. You know, my cousins.
Okay. So your uncle, like, he brought you up. Like,
he brought me up well, you know, regarding just of having and doing stuff as a youngster. Yeah. But as I started getting older, I started to reconnect more with my other siblings. Yeah. When I got like the two other siblings, my brothers Stephen and Jody, I connected with my brother Stephen, but my other brother Jody, I don't feel like we really connected like that because we wasn't raised in the household. Sure. Yeah. And I know one of my brothers, he in prison now, he kind of resented my mother for that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
like
I kind of had these feelings too when I was young. But as I got older and became a man, and this before I even knew Christ, I was able to put a lot of that stuff behind me. Wow. I'm the type of person, I always been like this, I never hold grudges, you know? Yeah. And it's just like...
And a lot of people, the way that... I remember this one quote. It's like, it's not about what happens to you. It's about 10% what happens to you. 90% is what you do. Like, the choices that you make is 90% of the things that happen to you. So it's like, no matter what hand, like, you're dealt, whatever cards you're dealt, it's about how you respond and in response to that. Are you choosing to, like, be angry for, like, a little bit and then be like, you know what? I can't do nothing about it no more. Like, I'm going to put it behind me and I'm going to look forward. Or you could be that person that's like, someone owes me something. I'm gonna be a victim my whole entire life, and then you start making decisions
to that person.
You start making your decisions based off of someone owing you something, and that you may never get back. You know, or you're looking for something that's not really there, and then now you're making your decisions. Like, let's say you do something unlawful, and then you can't be like, well, my mom did this to me. So I get to do that. Doesn't give you permission, and then you end up in places that you wake up ending up in places you never really wanted to be, you know. And
at the end of the day, no matter what we go through, we just gotta forgive. You know what I'm saying? And early on, I learned this early on. Yeah, like, I'm a man. Yeah. But even when I was young, I was like, we all make mistakes. My mom, she was like I said, she was brought up in the 80s, the crack era. Yeah. And she went through all this, and I'm just thank God that she here today and she's clean, and we got a good relationship. And so she tell me all the time, she was like, out of all the siblings, she was like, you never gave me no problems. You know what I'm saying? You never really gave me no problems.
Where do you think that comes from? Like, for you, obviously all your siblings turned out a different way. But for you, it was different. Like, the way you saw life, obviously you were in the same boat, you know? Yeah. But you chose a different direction. Where did that come from?
And shout out to my brother Michael George. It's love, and he got his own barbershop out in Flint, Michigan. So he is doing this thing. That's what's up. And he even came out here, and we got together, But like, just to be honest, I just didn't never really feel a connection with all my siblings like that. I love them,
Right.
but you know what I'm saying. But it's just I never really felt that connection.
Right. So let's talk about that being your child upbringing. What got you into like music and hip hop and rap and all that stuff? Because from what I heard, you could rap about anything. Groceries. You could rap about like what led you to that lifestyle?
But got me into music. Okay, so we had a chapter before the music. Okay, so I'm raised with my uncle, which has become my father now, Jonathan Lymon, and my siblings. And my siblings, they another generation ahead of me. So they was into, hustling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm introduced to all this lavish lifestyle, like, having new shoes and having,
latest.
that type of stuff in my upbringing.
Yeah.
And I was just raised around a lot of hustlers, you know what I'm saying? And but basically, so I started selling drugs around, I say 16, 17 in high school because I wanted more. I wanted to fit in. You know what I'm saying? I wanted the uniform, as Wallow 267 say. Shout him out. He, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted the uniform. I wanted the jewelry. I wanted to have a car going to school. I didn't want to get on a yellow bus.
Right.
I wanted to be accepted. And for the young people,
you want to be looked at as that person that got it all together.
Yeah, and for the young people out there, and this is some stuff you have to live through, but validation from people that don't even care about you, don't even matter. Seeking that validation. Well, I was seeking that validation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be the cool kid. And I could never really accomplish that. You know what I'm saying? I did a little bit through, you know what I'm saying? I got family that's in the music.
Yeah.
Like I'm related to, later on I will find out I'm related to Frankie Lyman, 50 singer from the group, the Teenagers.
You got a very familiar last name there.
So, but before I was even knew about that, I got some local people, local family members. Well, they kind of underground, and they kind of had the city, as far as hip hop in the '90s. The Dayton family, and MC Breed, out of Flint. So I was raised up around seeing all this, like, and like just to remind people, I'm putting people back in my mindset back growing up. So this isn't my thought process now, just to be clear, because I know some people gonna come for me. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
But just to put my mindset back then, all my idols and people I looked up to was right here.
Yeah.
I could go see my favorite rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I could go see people doing shows. So all this stuff, it was going into me. Mm-hmm. But really, what got me into music was the lifestyle I was living from selling drugs.
So the music, the lifestyle was a byproduct of what that was representing.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what drew you so like, if that's what I got to do to get that, then that's what I'm gonna do. Right? You're like rapping, like you're all the stuff that you were doing. So how did you know? Like, did you just like want to pursue rap and just out the gates be like, I'm good at this, or you just wanted to like? Was it a skill that you already had, or did you need to develop it in order to get X, Y, and Z, like the lifestyle?
Yeah, you know how you hear a lot of people, they say, I was rapping when I was 5, or I was dancing. It wasn't like that for me. My brother, Samuel, he was pursuing music because he looked up to the Breeds and the Dayton families as well.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So he was always into music. But me, I was into hustling. I was into making money.
Right.
But my life experiences, when I started going through stuff, that's when and then this could be for any culture. Sometimes you don't talk to people.
Right.
You don't want to expose that stuff. You don't want to talk to people. Like I was dealing with relationships and drugs and all that type of stuff. And music was an outlet, so it was therapeutic for me to to put my life in music, because I wasn't talking to people. I didn't have, counselors like I got in the church today, mentors and people I can express this type of stuff.
Right.
So music became my outlet, you know what I'm saying, for me to...
Did you feel like writing music and rapping about it was kind of like more accepted if it was you doing it as an artist? Like, did you feel like... Because you didn't feel like, if I talk to someone one-on-one about like my issues and problems and that, like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it was more like, if I rap about it, more people would accept me, and like that mentality more wrapped in some tracks.
Yeah, it's like the therapist was the mic. Once I got it recorded and once I put it out, it was was like healing in a way, in a weird way.
Yeah.
Just to release it. And even doing this and just talking about this stuff is therapeutic.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of questions I had, and I talked to my mother, and she told me certain things. But it's stuff when we growing up that we don't really pay attention to. When as you get older, you got questions.
Yeah.
So the music came by inspiration of me living the lifestyle I was living, and then trying to change.
Right.
But the ways of a man seem right, as the scriptures say, but end in death.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like, okay, I'm getting away from the drugs because, like I say, I got people in my family that's addicted to drugs.
Right.
People in the community. I know guys that'll sell crack to their own mama.
Wow.
And their mentality is they gonna get it. She gonna get it from the guy up the street.
Mm-hmm.
So she might as well get it from me.
Wow.
And me, I got a heart.
Yeah.
I've always been like this. I always
Okay.
had a heart. I'm like,
I was gonna say, like, was that like a natural thing for you to have, like, to care about people? Like, you know, obviously, like, out of all your siblings, your mom was like, you're the only person that's different. Like, you're the one that's different from any of my kids. You know, like, you actually stuck around. You actually cared about me. Was that always a thing with you, or
well,
like when was like?
She said you gave me the less problems.
You gave me the less problems, right? But like, was that always like? Where did that stem from? Were you always like that as a kid, or like did you just see things and be like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like my brother or sister. I don't want to be like my friend down the street selling crack to his mom. Like, was that like a natural instinct for you?
Some stuff ain't on you, is in you.
Okay.
And even though, like, because I've done a lot of bad things and wrong things, you know, and I ain't gonna get up here and be like, I'm the biggest criminal, I was a drug lord and all that. But I did do a lot of stuff that I'm not proud of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, like, going back to what I was saying about the heart, the mind, the conscience, this stuff was killing my conscience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I had people that was real close to me that died from complications of drugs. You know what I'm saying? And what was it for me was, it was a lady in a building where I was selling drugs at. She ended up passing away.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, I'm done. You know, so by this time I had started paying for studio time. And I started recording my music. And I was telling my brother, I said, in my mind, and telling my brother, once this CD get done, you know what I'm saying, I'm done with the grain. I'm done selling crack. I'm going to take the same mentality and put it in the music.
And apply it to music.
So what we did was we started recording songs, and I worked with an engineer called Steve Pitts. He's like famous in Flint far as like he recorded groups like people like MC Breed, groups like the Dating Family and Top Authority. So I met him one day, and I was just like, you know, can I link up with you? And his studio was right in the neighborhood, so I ended up going over there. And I remember talking to my cousin right before the first time I went. He said do more reading, just read. You know what I'm saying? We get you the source. You know what I'm saying? At this time, the internet wasn't huge.
Right.
You know
you
what I'm
had
saying?
to actually open some books up.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I mean,
so I came
no one will know that experience nowadays. Like, they just go on their smartphone. That makes you a dum-dum.
Yeah, so I came in the game right before or right around the time Soulja Boy dropped.
Okay.
Crank That, and the whole game changed. But I'm still at the era where, you know, I recorded my first mixtape.
Yeah.
Me and my brother. He put in too. And it was called New Era Flow.
Okay.
It was a group project with me and him.
Okay.
So we press it up, and I started selling it. And the thing was, the people got to validate whatever I do. You know, even going back to the fashion.
Yeah.
So my first time performing, it was crazy because it was these guys called the 5950 Boys, and they had money, they had the look, you know what I'm saying? And I just had the music at the time. And we was in a club, and they throwing money everywhere, and they went on before. I'm like, dang, I got to go on before them. I mean, after them.
Yeah.
So afterwards, we went on, we did the song, whatever, me and my brother, and they came off shooting like, y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that moment, I knew we had something.
Okay.
So I continued to record. We got the CD done. But when it came to distribution, you know what I'm saying, I would get like 100 or 200 CDs. And I'd tell my brother, come on, let's do the same. And he wasn't on that mindset of, let's make this into a business.
Right.
He wanted to see me, let me get a stack of your CDs. And I would give them to him. But after a while, I just felt like he wasn't as passionate.
Gotcha.
You know, for the music as I was, as far as the business side.
Right.
So
'Cause you can't have that without the business side.
Yeah.
You can't succeed with really anything.
And I don't really know business at this time, but I knew enough just from what I was doing in the street style. I'm spending this much. Yeah. I got to get this much back. I got a bag. You know, I got to have my package right. Yeah. And at this point in time, I'm dealing with a young lady that started getting really jealous, you know, that I was doing music and stuff like that. Snap. And I was in a real, like, dark place with that, where, you know, where her, it was a violent relationship, and she stabbed me up, you know, catch me. You know, she'd catch me out the store and just jump out like
she stabbed you?
Yeah, she stabbed me. I got stabbed right here.
Oh my gosh.
Right here and in my back.
That's insane.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
crazy.
I'm going through all this, and at this point in time, I'm using drugs.
Yeah.
So it was like I was in a dark place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So the transition came. Well, another phase came after I dealt with all this, and it's just like what I'm gonna do in my life. You know, what I'm saying? I'm real depressed.
The most like bottomest part of your life, you started asking yourself, what are you gonna do with it? Like, where is this all headed? Right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people, unfortunately, find the light in their darkest moment.
Yeah.
Like, you know, for me, when I came to Christ, it was at 18 when I was in a relationship. It ended. I was in film school, and I didn't even know if I wanted to continue. So like I just had like identity problems. Like everything in my life was coming to like a close, and I'm like, is this it? Is this all? So it seems like when you were at that place, like what was the turning point? Like how did you know that you needed to, like there's more in life? Like what was the point where you were in the darkest place where you're like, man, I need help? Like, what was it like for you?
I remember me and the young lady y'all spoke about. I remember we were riding, just being high on my mind, me and her. And I remember pulling over to a park, and I was just telling her, I'm like, it gotta be something more than life. Fast forward, about 6-7 years later, I get baptized. I find Christ, and she overdosed.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? So she's no longer here.
Wow.
So just looking at that, and that's why I got to speak out about these certain things, because I try my best, you know, to help her.
Yeah.
Because we started using cocaine together.
Wow.
And I always felt like, she always blamed me too, and said, well, it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've done this before. I said, no, I haven't never done this. I've been around it my whole life.
Yeah.
But I never had tried it. And I kind of feel like...
She made you feel responsible.
Yeah, she made me feel like that. And I started feeling like that.
Wow.
Like, dang, like... Because I was able to shake it. I never got... like I said in my last interview, I abused drugs, but I didn't feel like I was addicted.
Right.
But at the same time, it could have took me out of here because I was mixing stuff.
Wow.
I was doing cocaine.
Yeah.
To be up.
Yeah.
Then take a Xanny bar to come down.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then mixing alcohol with all that. So I was in those same dangerous positions, but I just wasn't addicted where it was like I needed it. It was more like fun and party. And when, like I said, when I got that car, it was just, because I had just went back to Flint and I saw her, because we had like been through a lot. I had thought I had a son by her, and I went to take the blood test, because like I said, I got a heart.
Right.
And if this my seed, I got to know.
Yeah.
And it was eating me up, so I ended up going back to Flint.
Wow.
And then people were just telling me, and she just eventually told me, like, it's not yours.
Oh, okay.
By this time, she had a couple more kids, and I tried to reconnect with her and just tell her, like, kind of bury that.
Mad respect for you as a man to take on that, because a lot of men don't have the courage.
A lot of people won't even talk about it. Like, sometimes when I be telling people my story, they be laughing, you a sucker or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I can take it because, I was to a certain extent, like, but I was young,
It's what got you to where you are now. Like, that was all part of your story. All of that stuff did happen, and you can't shake the fact that that's where you were living in that phase of your life.
Yeah.
So when it comes now, like, we're talking about cut from our cloth. So where did this seed get planted in you of starting a brand, like merchandise and all, like, all the stuff? Like, was that something that you want to do for a long time, or was it something that's like, you know what, I'm a different breed now. Like I like the moment where you got baptized and like things started changing and you started seeking, for help. Was it always like, oh yeah, I'm gonna create this clothing line and this is what it's called and this is how I'm gonna do it? Or was it like a moment, like a dream or like a inspiration? Were you inspired?
It was just soaking up game like a sponge.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So basically after that stuff happened with me and the young lady, my dad pulled up and I was staying with my sister at the time and he said we going to Vegas.
Wow.
So I packed up everything and I had CDs and stuff and I came out here to Vegas and I just, I separated myself from the group, the most slept on. That's what we called ourselves the most slept on because we felt like we had big shoes to fill coming after people like MC Breed and the Dang family, and we felt like people didn't take us serious, you know, when we was putting out music. So that's why we called ourselves the most slept on. So
you flipped it.
I flipped it. I came out here and I was like, obviously I'm alone. Yeah. So I went from B Dilly because he used to be Sam Dilly and B Dilly and it was the Dilly Boys. It's some group like some next slang my cousins came up with and people would call us that as a negative, like them Dilly Boys, because they felt like we was being like groupies to our cousins. Because where I'm from, drug dealers and rappers don't really coincide. It was more like, because you don't really see, you gotta make it. Yeah. Because you got this guy with these Benzes and he doing this selling drugs, so they don't really respect rappers like that. No. So we would get teased a little bit, made fun of, you know what I'm saying? So I flipped it. When I came out here, I dropped the B Dilly and became Dilly Boy, and I created this whole new image. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I ended up getting a manager. Yeah. I ended up 6 months out here, living out here. I had like 3 little small deals on the table. Wow. I turned down 2 of them and then went independent with this record label called THC, which stands for the Hustlers Committee. Okay. And that whole experience, shouts out to Dwayne Davison and Kelly Byers. They signed me, and it wasn't no money up front, but it was just I was looking to build a team. Right. You know what I'm saying? I came out here and I was trying to go to school and stuff. My teacher was like, you got it. Just go do your music. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to be here. Because I would come in school with my posters and CDs. And that drive that I'm still trying to find a channel through Christianity, that drive, that it always brought people on board. Yeah. So I had signed with THC Records. Yeah. They built this studio in the crib. I'm recording at the studio. I'm staying with them. Yeah. And I released my second mixtape called Now or Never on Dat Piff. So I had it on a bigger platform. Yeah. I got a team and we did a release party at the Cobra Room. This is the first time I'm really starting to feel like a rapper. Okay. They got me with the look, the limos,
all of it.
People.
And it was on their dime.
You know what I'm saying?
Like it was nothing out of your pocket.
Nothing out of my pocket.
So, I mean, some of it was.
Yeah, mostly. They did everything. Right. I did what I do. I connect. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Look what I got. Always. That's another thing, even out of being in a label. Yeah. And they had other artists too, and they would always tell me like, you doing it, like, because I'm the type of person. You got the looks. I don't want nobody to give me something. I go get it. Always been a grinder. So they liked it that. So they would put more into me. And then I remember one of the artists kind of got upset, like. But I used to always tell them, like, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm at Magic. I'm at Agenda. You know what I'm saying? I'm moving around just like I do today.
So it seemed like you were on the path to, like, a successful career in music. What was the turning point? Like, what was the part where you're like, I'm done with this. I'm going to start doing this.
Man, and just to think about it, it was really difficult for me to get that up. But it was just, I sat down with a young man. We had a Bible study.
Were you rapping?
And it was that simple.
Were you rapping and also following Jesus at the same time? Or when did that happen?
I completely stopped.
You completely stopped?
Like the day I said, it was a young man I met. It's crazy because when I met him, he was a rapper. Okay. And my photographer at the time, he knew the guy. And my photographer made the transition first. Okay. His name is Christian Baskerville. Okay. He woke up, I don't know what he had, a midlife crisis, something. He just woke up and said, I want to give my life to God. I'm not living right.
Wow.
He in
just in that moment, just like that.
Adulterous relationship where what they call it, fornication type relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was exactly, but he just wanted to change.
It was the guilt that was on him.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And he called brother Terrence now, which is they both my brother-in-laws now.
Yeah,
and it's crazy how deep this go because they married my wife's sisters.
Wow.
Both of them.
Wow.
it's
like family.
You see how God just bring everything together.
Yeah.
But where was we at?
We're at what the transition was. Like what made you
was I rapping?
Stop rapping.
Yeah.
And then,
just hearing the truth and hearing the gospel, man. And and I know when you study the scriptures, you see how God, he tells us how to do something. He tells us exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just with rapping, it comes a lot of idolatry. It comes a lot of
facade. There's a lot of facade in that.
It's a lot. It's a lot of like, say the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm rapping about God or whatever, people still gonna perceive it as rap. You know what I'm saying?
Right, the culture of it.
Yeah, that what goes with it. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm talking about the most positive thing, like, cause I even laid a hand in it. You know, I put out a little freestyle or whatever, cause I got inspired. So I'm living the life.
Let me ask you this, because you're talking about I gotta let the rap thing go, or what? Kanye West. He just dropped a Sunday service. He dropped the album Jesus is King. He's still rapping.
Yeah. I would like to talk to Kanye West.
I want to hear your perspective about.
I would like to have a conversation with him. You know what I'm saying? But this is what I can say. As far as the music, because I do listen to the song. I listen to one of the songs called, what's the song he just dropped? Closed on Sunday.
Closed on Sunday. Yeah.
I like that song from a musical standpoint and the message.
Yeah.
I like it, but it's hard to try to bring God into rap because he told us to go preach the gospel.
Yeah.
And now we're going to change it. The gospel found in 1 Corinthians 15 is the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Christ.
Yeah.
It's not about me no more.
That's not.
The scriptures say, I must decrease, he must increase.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and we're going to pop the scriptures up later here. That's another thing. I don't limit myself because I can't remember exactly where it's at, but I could jump on my phone and find it.
So it seems like you had a significant transformation where you're like, yo, I gotta do something. My life isn't the way it's supposed to be. I need to submit to something greater. So you're like, I'm gonna go all in on God. And
mind you, I'm at the point where I got sponsors.
Yeah.
I got
all that stuff. So what happened?
All this stuff.
So did you go back to them?
I finally got that attention I seek for. Remember I told you?
Yeah.
I seek for this attention and validation.
Like,
you know what I'm saying? So it was here, and I was rapping, and I was doing shows, and I was sleeping with multiple women.
Yeah.
And I was like,
did you still feel like something was missing, even though you reached your goal? Like you reached the idea of like, that's what rappers do. Like, I got the money. I
didn't feel like nothing was missing until I opened that book.
Wow.
And it made me look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you felt like you had it all together. Then you cracked open the word, and then it exposed.
It exposed. You know, like I said, the ways of a man seem right.
Yeah.
Which Proverbs tell us.
Right.
The ways of a man seem right but end in death. So everything I was doing was seeming right.
Right.
I'm not selling drugs no more.
Right.
I'm not hurting nobody. But what's the language I'm speaking? I'm cussing still. Mm-hmm. I'm sleeping with all these women. I'm fornicating.
Right.
So we always gonna have sin. Ain't no big sin, little sin. Right. But the difference is now is I still sin because I don't want, people think, Christians think there's some perfect people, but the Bible tells us to be perfect. But the way you be perfect in God and in Christ is maturing in the Word.
That's right.
Maturing.
Yeah.
I make a mistake.
A lot of non-Christians, like let's say a lot of non-Christians watch this. A lot of, we got a lot of like audience that's doesn't believe in God and all that stuff. Majority do, but we have some that don't, and that's fine because we love you. Like I love you. Like as human beings.
Maybe we could spark some in your brain by what we saying.
Like so, like when you talk about that, and like to an atheist or non-believer, like how do you approach that? I mean, obviously it says the by the power of the blood and the power of your testimony. Like you're literally just a witness. You're like, this is what I witnessed in my life. But when you cracked open the book and you saw the mirror of your own life, you're like, I'm missing out. Like, I'm not doing that. Was it a cold turkey like transformation where you're like, one day you were doing this and the next day it was, you're just cold turkey?
Not everything, but it was more like I had to, because you go, repentance is a change of mind, resulting in a change of action.
Because a lot
of
non-believers will be like, oh, all Christians are hypocrites. We are. Like, we're human beings. Like,
but this the difference. I was a sinner before I became a Christian. I sin now that I'm a Christian. That's a big difference. A sinner is somebody that lives in it. Dilly Boy was living in continuous sin. Augustus Lymon, if I sin, oh my bad, dear Lord, forgive me. I'm gonna ask for forgiveness.
Is it a pursuit?
Because I got access now.
Is it a pursuit of righteousness and a pursuit, meaning like we're all human beings, we're gonna fail, but the mentality behind Augustus Lymon now is like, I know I'm gonna fail.
That's why I need him.
That's why I need. That's your position.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I need Jesus.
That's why, because I know I'm gonna fail.
Because before you were a sinner that don't need Jesus, because you didn't even know you didn't even know you needed.
And people will say, you'll talk to a worldly person or something. They'll say, you judging me because I gave you scripture. No, basically you saying, leave me alone. Let me sin in peace.
Oh, snap.
I'm not judging you. The scriptures tell you that the word of God is going to judge you. You know what I'm saying? So I just show people what the word is. Right. And like I said, even this transition, when I first became a Christian, I was just on fire. And not to say that I ain't now, but I'm just learning how to...
maturity.
Listen to people more.
Yeah, because I remember when I first became, when I first found, when I got pulled out of my lifestyle and Christ came and saved me, 18. Like, it wasn't even in a church. It was in my living room by myself. And I just broke down. And I felt like that's when I decided to make a change and commit my life. And that first year, I wanted to tell, I was trying to, not condemning people, but I was very much like, why are you living like that? Well, you got to live like this. And very like open, and like I felt, now looking back, I was like, oh yeah, I was condemning. Like I was pretty harsh on like friends, family. If they, I was trying to get people to know like Jesus and come to church and stuff. And then as I matured, and that was like 12 years ago. Like I'm 32 now. That was a while back. It was over 10 years ago. Now looking back, I'm like, the best thing that I could have done is just be an example. Mm-hmm. It's just be a light. So where you're at now, you have a family. You're married now, right? You got a beautiful kid, right? How does that change? What's your mentality now with the wisdom? Because you had said I was very, like you had said that you were very, like outspoken about that, and you're passionate and all this stuff, and you had mentioned that not that you're not that now, but it's different.
Yeah, it's more like I said, I listen more. I kind of just find out what a person believe, ask some questions. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing, like just being around people, just plant seeds. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to run nobody off, but and then it's another aspect of it. You don't want to be too like.
Yeah.
So like it might be just boom. I'm talking. I pull out a card. Here, check this out. Yeah. Boom. I see you again on the next, time I see you. You check that out? What you think?
Yeah.
Or if we sitting down, you got time, we can open the book. Like it happens so many different ways.
So but there has to be a balance.
I'm just got to be willing.
Yeah.
Because the end goal, that's why I can't get too caught up. Even though I got the brand and all this stuff, life is about balance. Because the Bible tell us, seek the kingdom first and his righteousness.
Yeah.
And all things will be added to you. Right. So I got to make sure that's top of the list. Somebody call me right now, or we might have to cut this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So let's talk about that. You brought up your brand now. Like, what was the inspiration for that, and what was the process of launching that and making that happen? Like, obviously, you're married, you got a kid, and you also have, you have a career. But were you like, yo, I'm gonna do this, or were you like, you and your wife came together like, yo, let's do this? Like, what was the inspiration behind Rare Cloth? Obviously, the transformation and being cut from Rare Cloth, like 101, that kind of resonates. I'm sure that resonates a lot with our Divine Hustle audience, the tribe here at Divine Hustle, because, you know, every person matters, every story matters, and there's not one person in the world that is you. You have your own story. You have your own journey. You got the only things that happen in your life only happen to you and no one else.
Man.
So what was the inspiration in starting something like Rare Cloth?
Man, I think you said it. You said it good. But yeah, everything we do is an extension of self.
Yeah.
Fashion is a big part of how I express myself creatively.
Yeah.
It's
Obviously,
my mood.
swagged out.
It's my passion.
Yeah.
It's my personality. It's my ambition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, and it's more so about the message.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like, I'm not really the person I was as far as like, oh, I gotta have the latest fashion and all this stuff.
Sure.
I just like comfortable stuff.
Yeah.
And then, but it's just people always, oh, they like it. But it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
So I just wanted something comfortable with a positive message.
Right.
And like I said, everything I do can't go. They gotta line up with scripture, or it can't go against scripture.
Right.
It can't. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when I came with the cut from Rare Cloth, like you said, we all one of one. We all are cut from Rare Cloth. So it's not, because some people, one brother was asking me, he's like, ain't that kind of boastful? But once I broke it down to him and showed him, it's subjective.
Yeah, because a lot of people.
Rare, if you look up the word rare right now, it's going to tell you is unwanted. So, and I kind of feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Unwanted. We're Christians. I'm going to be persecuted. Rare. Even I told a guy one time, he said, cut from Rare Cloth. That's a Christian. And I didn't even have to tell him. Yeah. And by him saying that, he was the first person who told me that. I was like, wow, he got the undertone meaning. It resonated. So like going back to what we said, what we was talking about, just branding and just, like I said, I came up, like when I came out here to Magic and I started getting sponsors and started going to Agenda and all these fashion weeks. Yeah. And I started learning the game. Yeah. And I started talking to people and I was just like, I go wear a Puma, Nike, all this stuff. I'm a walking billboard for a brand that's not even giving me no money, and I'm paying a high price to go get it. Why don't I cut the cost and just create my own brand? There you go. Now when I wear something, somebody asked me where I got it from. I got it. It's on my website.
I love that.
It's in the trunk of my car.
I love that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I love that because you're like, you woke up to the idea of like, how am I a billboard for these other brands that is making all this money, but we're created and designed to create and to rep, you know, the things that guys put inside of us. Then you flipped it. You were like, I'm going to create my own stuff and rock my own stuff. Yeah. And like, yo, if people want to join me in that, there's my website, you know?
That's how I did it with the music. The music was for me. Yeah. It was an event to get out, you know, these feelings. Then people resonated with it.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with the brand.
So what's the future of Rare Cloth? What does that look like to you?
And shout out to my wife, Amber Lymon, because because like I said, we got to talk about the pits too, the hard parts. Yeah. So it was a point in time where I was kind of like, is this taking too much of my time? Like, you know, you get in debt, you know, a little bit, and you be like, is it really worth it? And I kind of backing off. And I'm the type of person, that's one of my flaws. Sometimes I just can cut it off. Just how I cut it on. Yeah. She's like, no, you came too far. And she took over the social media. She doing more of that type of stuff. And I'm just, you know, I'm kind of like, it's ours together, but it's kind of like I say it's hers now because we are one. We are one. So
that's beautiful. Yeah.
And just her coming along and just helped out a lot. And what I want to speak about too, for the people that might be trying to get into clothing and apparel, you know, you got to turn your L's. If you look at an L as a loss, then you already lost. Wow. You got to look at an L as a lesson.
Wow.
An L is not a loss, it's a lesson.
I think they need to hear that one more time, bro.
L is not a loss, it's a lesson.
It's a lesson. Take the L. Take the lesson.
Yeah, take the lesson. So I went through different I did some entrepreneurial stuff too at my job. Like I worked for a cab company as like a regular 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So I saw a need. I saw drivers would have money and they would come in. And they would like, you know, whatever I had on or whatever. And they'd be like, you know, I like that, whatever. So it just started off like that. And I noticed they had a logo. Yeah. And they had their logo on collar shirts. And then they had a logo on like a crunchy, hard button up. I'm like, so I told the owner's son, you know, I was like, man, I need to get some, you know, get some hoodies, get some dad hats. And he was like, you know what? That's a good idea. So I kind of just let that linger.
Right.
So after a while, I was like, let me try to do something. So I went to him and I was like, can I use y'all logo, test y'all logo out on some dad hats? The dad hats came in, they're real popular.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, can I test it out? How much you gonna charge me? I mean, what percentage I gotta get y'all?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, just do it. I just want to see all the drivers wearing it.
Dang.
So instantly I went and
that
spent.
was like your first.
I went and spent about $400-500.
Wow.
On hats with the logo on there, orange, yellow, all different colors, and then so I started selling them, and like I said, it wasn't a great idea because now the guys like they look at it like our work here, it should be free because they give out the shirts free. But I was telling them like this is something I put out of my pocket like as an exclusive merch.
Right.
And then they started receiving to it more. But like I said, from that situation, I just learned like, okay, let me not limit myself just to these guys because these are the only people that's gonna buy it.
Yeah.
So I learned something. So the next move was to, okay, let me create my own brand. That way I can sell it here. Yeah. I can sell it there. I can sell it everywhere.
Turn that L to a lesson.
Yeah. So
turn that L to a lesson. I love that. If there's anything that comes out of this podcast that you're listening to right now, turn that L into a lesson. I love that, bro.
And I took that. The lesson was create your own.
Create your own.
Don't be
right
stuck in one box.
That's so good.
So once I did that, then everything started happening. You know, started happening a little better for me.
So the future is obviously you're coming out with more merch. You know, doing an online takeover. Right.
Yeah.
So, how often you guys come out with like new design, like new merch, new? Is that still working in progress, or is it?
I try to do it like every week to every 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
whoa.
And then a lot of stuff might not even come back, like certain colorways, because I want it to be rare.
Limited edition.
You know what I'm saying?
You wanted to be a rare.
Yeah. So if you know what I'm saying, I might just have to get you a gold and black, and nobody else have it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like to do stuff like that too. So
that's fire.
And some of my customers, like I got people that have been rocking with me since day one. Like I might, you know, drop them a fanny pack or something.
Wow.
Something that ain't even out yet. You know what I'm saying?
It's awesome because now you're in control. Like you get to create whatever you want to create, and you got a brand that could elevate and represent all the creativity that you want to come up with. You know, and you got like a wife that's helping you like do that. And as your message is spreading, your brand's spreading.
Nobody gonna help you.
No one's gonna do it
until you start.
Right.
You can talk about it all day, but once you start moving, and then you're gonna shed people with you, like you said, you can't be upset. That's another thing I want to put out there, because I learned a lot. Like I felt like it was people that was, you know, part of my team that, you know, I felt like we could have handled things better, and I felt like, you know, you're going to feel like that. You're going to feel like, oh, maybe my cousin or so-and-so should have posted me. Yeah. Or maybe my sister, you know, my sister-in-law, that she's beautiful. Why don't she take a picture in it? Right. But, like, you got to understand, everything ain't for everybody.
Right.
You know
so how do you deal with that? Like, not take offense, like, personally, if like, you have a brand and your expectation is, like, I got friends and family that I ought to be sharing my stuff because I'm excited about it. Yeah. How do you take that? How do you not take that personally and move on and be like, you know what? Like, that's okay. I'm gonna keep on going.
I don't expect nothing. I don't expect
zero expectations.
Like I give it to my like my sister-in-law's day. You know, I gave it to him and I said, like I said, someone will support, but someone won't. And I don't have the expectation. I'm giving it to you because I want to give it to you. Right. I'm not giving it to you because I'm expecting something. Now, don't get me wrong. I do got some people like I meet on the internet, and I'm giving it to them with that expectation. Sure. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like, but people come around. Like I said, once you start working,
but I think like this,
I start coming around.
If you're creating a brand that has massive value, and you give it to people and not have an expectation, if you have a brand and you built that brand up, where it's like, oh, people want to rep it. Like, there's people in my life that I was like, yo, like, would love for them to post this, would love for them, but they don't do it. But there's someone on the other side that's like, I can't wait to rep your stuff. I can't. They're like a super fan. You know what I mean? Like, but like, don't get tripped up is what you're saying. Don't get caught up in the expectation of your friends and family, or anything if you're creating something, but speak to the person that wants to rep your stuff.
Yeah.
Like, people that want to connect with you. That's the people that you need around you. Is that,
that's
is that what
the
you're
people
saying?
I got. Like right now, I got a small amount of people that's
Yeah,
you know, but
that believes in what you're doing, supports what you're doing, loves the vision.
I got people soon.
Shout out every time I talk to Kelly Bennett, she's
Kelly,
like she's like your
man.
biggest super fan, bro.
Kelly Bennett, like we go back, and when I first met her, like I was on the rise, and really I really wasn't nobody, but for her to take out that time,
even from cleaning out your fridge.
Yeah, and like I said, I value out of that more than even being a PR is just the nutritionist type stuff she was helping. Because I was like,
cared.
I can't be my full 100% if I got this gas in this acid in my stomach and I'm in pain.
Right.
And she kind of helped me out with that, and
so
I
massive
really
shout
appreciate
out, Kelly.
her. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah,
Awesome, bro. Well, we're about to wrap this podcast up, but man, where can we find you? Where can we follow you? Like, where can we purchase merch? And we're gonna be repping that here at Divine Hustle for sure. So, where can everybody find you, bro?
On Instagram, Rare Cloth Apparel, and the website is www.rareclothapparel.com.
Oh,
and you can hit me up on Instagram, send me a DM. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll make it
just
happen.
check me out. We got some. We getting ready for the spring, so I'm about to get the short sleeves back. Some crazy color waves.
That's what's up.
Maybe mess around with the. We got some teams in town, so we got to play with those colors. You know what I'm saying?
That's rad.
So yeah,
awesome, bro. Well, thanks so much for showing up and being on the podcast, bro. Definitely,
I appreciate it, man.
Find every link in the description on this podcast or in the link below. We're gonna link them up, put them on, all the descriptions so you can connect with my dude Gus. And thank you so much, Divine Hustle Tribe. You are amazing. Thank you so much for being on this journey and listening to all these episodes. I hope you got something incredible out of this conversation and behind the brand. We absolutely thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom and sharing your story, sharing all the stuff that God's doing in your life, because we are pursuing God-given greatness in our faith, relationships, business, and creativity here at the Divine Hustle. And thank you again. If this is your first time tuning into Divine Hustle, man, if you love what you hear, please subscribe to the channel. Please go ahead and like this video or share this video here on iTunes. You can go to divinehustle.com if you want to continue following what we're doing and who we're having on the show. And we have a ton of resources on our page. We got some stuff to help you with your social media, to help you with your church branding, all kinds of stuff on our page at divinehustle.com. If you want to follow us, we're on Instagram and YouTube, and just go to Divine Hustle, at Divine Hustle. That's DIVINE Hustle. And if you want to follow me, your host, John Mediana, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you want to find me. I'm all over the place at John Mediana. And thank you so much for tuning in, and God bless. We'll see you in the next episode.